Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ramadan Mubarak, my dear listeners. Hope you are all fine and blessed during this amazing month, the month of fasting. So today I'll be reacting on this video. Your heart does something very amazing when you fast. So I want to find out what happens to our heart when we fast. According to this video, I hope it can give us some understanding of what happens to our heart as we go through fasting. Without wasting so much time, let's get into the video and understand what it's all about.
Everybody says you have to have taqwa, you have to have taqwa, you have to have taqwa, but it's not on sale after the salah, it's outside. I don't know where to get it from. You have this concept. How am I supposed to put it in myself? I've heard that it's really important, and I better have it, right? But it's an abstract thing. That's the beauty of our religion. It takes these ideas, and then Allah will give us in His book a practical way of bringing it inside you. So it doesn't just hover as a philosophical concept, something called taqwa. I guess some people have it, I don't have it. No, Allah will actually give you training exercises that you can implement and through them get taqwa. And one of the most powerful ones of them is what? Fasting. Fasting will give you taqwa. Fasting is hope to give you. Now, if fasting was guaranteed to give you taqwa, here's what you would have read. كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لِتَتَّقُوا. The lam would have been lam al-ta'leel. لِتَتَّقُوا would have meant so that you have taqwa. When you say لَعَلَّكُمْ, there's a hope that you might get it, but there's not a guarantee. There's not a guarantee. Okay? So Allah is saying this is a way to get it, but only if you do it right. It's not like anybody who's going to fast is going to get taqwa. So let's explore that concept a little bit. How does fasting lead to taqwa? The idea of being cautious of Allah, protective, secure about Allah. Very simply put. I don't want to get technical with you on this, and I'm not going to give you elaborate quotes. My intention, by the way, today is not to be academic. I'm giving this lecture as a teacher. I'm not a scholar anyway, but not as a researcher. So I'm not trying to, present you with scholarly research from this source and that source. I've done that homework, and I'm trying to present it in as easy language as I possibly can, inshallah. Okay? So now let's talk about this. When you're fasting, especially if you're fasting in an interesting hot place like Texas in the summer, right? Or in the Khalij somewhere, or in Pakistan, or wherever, South Africa. When you're fasting, you're gonna feel thirst. And it doesn't matter if you're religious or not, or old or young. It doesn't discriminate. Thirst doesn't discriminate. Hunger doesn't discriminate. You're gonna feel hunger. And that feeling inside of you is basically your body asking you to disobey Allah. Isn't it? I mean, every ounce of thirst, every second of thirst that you feel, your body is screaming, give me water. Your stomach is really almost coming up with a song on its own. Feed me. There's a war happening inside you. Your body is asking you to rebel against Allah. And there's something in your heart that tells your throat and your stomach to shut up. Not until Maghrib. Not until Maghrib. You're fighting yourself the entire day. Yourself the entire day. There's a newlywed couple. He's crazy about her. He just looks at her and he goes, what am I supposed to do? Not until Maghrib. I'm going to hold myself back because I'm fasting. There's the strongest of the urges, intimacy. And of course the most basic of needs, hunger and thirst. Allah blocked them for the entirety of the day. And you and I, if we're observing our fast, we're crushing the needs and the strongest desires of our body for the entirety of a day only to make Allah happy. Only to make Allah happy. And there's a kid who's like 12 years old or 10 years old, he's fasting for the first time, and he's looking at this melted piece of chocolate, and he's got like a little thing of it on and he's just looking at it and he puts it back. Even he's got taqwa. And then you're going to do this, Every time you do this, you're developing a consciousness of Allah. Why is that exercise important? If you can do that through the entirety of a day, to block yourself and deny yourself the most fundamental of your needs and the strongest of your wants. If you're capable of doing that, then Allah is asking you for a lot less outside of the fast. He's asking you to actually يُحَرِّمُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْخَبَائِثِ. The only thing He wants to prevent from you are filthy things. You're going to have a much easier time dealing with other acts of obedience of Allah. It's trained you. It's beautiful. I put it this way. When, for any tough job, like a rigorous training, like a military training or police academy training, these kinds of trainings, there's a lot of tough exercise, yeah? And they go through hours and hours of regiments and trainings. And then that same guy decides to join some kind of light gym. And they have a workout routine. And he says, this is a joke. We used to do 10 times this much. Yeah? So when he's come through a much tougher training, anything less is piece of cake, effortless. That's the idea of fasting. It's so tough. So when you're done with this, what Allah is going to ask you after that is piece of cake. You're ready for it. You'll develop the consciousness of Allah, and you'll be much better able to protect yourself from disobeying Allah.
Now, that's basically the video for us, and I think it's by Sheikh Norman. Yes, Mr. Norman from the Baina Institute, I think. A very, very interesting video. Basically, what happens to our heart during Ramadan when we fast. As Allah has put it in Quran, the fast has been written to us so that we may attain what? Taqwa. That is obedience of Allah. Now, this is actually so possible when you fast. Now you see, outside fasting, you are living your normal life, and then when you are fasting, basically what we learn from this video is that there are some small issues that you restrict yourself from, which help you to attain taqwa. The simplest of it is your resistance to your urges and desires and hunger and thirst during the days of Ramadan, which is actually so important in molding your heart to achieve, to attain that taqwa, or the fear and obedience of the Almighty. It is achieved through that process, because now if you are able to, because you'll be having hunger when you're fasting, you feel hungry, you feel thirsty, and so many other different urges that you may feel. But then, because you are fasting, you find yourself resisting them until Maghrib, which is actually so huge. How many times during our fasting days do we feel like, I feel so thirsty, this hunger is now too much, this hunger is now a lot for me. But you're seeing food, like you have food all around you, but you are not tempted to touch that food until Maghrib. You don't want to spoil your fast, which helps you attain that taqwa. Now outside Ramadan, imagine you are now not fasting and Allah is asking you for simple things like just to go and pray 5 times a day and not being so filthy and staying within His limits. Is that doesn't really look so hard, or doesn't seem so harder than resisting your urges during Ramadan and the hunger and the thirst. So I think basically that is what Ramadan helps in molding. That's how Ramadan helps in molding taqwa in our hearts. And I think it's a very beautiful video, and it's well put across to us in a simple manner that we can actually understand how Ramadan affects our hearts. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and share this video with a friend. From me to you, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.